My special guest today is a local San Antonio singer, songwriter, musician, and entertainer extraordinaire. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show today Mr. Adam Cruz. How you doing today, brother?
Hello, my friend. Good to speak with you today. So excited to be with you, man.
Thanks for coming on the show. How you enjoying San Antonio this time of the year? I love this time of the year, especially downtown.
I have to say, man, every day, um, I think, God, if it could only be this beautiful every day,
Yeah.
when this time of year comes around, it puts me in a really nice mood. Believe it or not, the cool weather, the cooler weather, the gray days kind of remind me of England.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I was going to say to you, as you know, this is Expat Radio, and although I'm presenting from here in Texas, we have a lot of listeners over in the UK. Let's talk about your military career, because you were in the US Airforce, right? And you were stationed over in the UK for a while.
Yes, so it was October of 1992 when I stepped off the jet at London Heathrow, and I was in the United States Air Force, and I was stationed at Royal Air Force Station Chicksands. And it was really interesting when I signed up for the military. Frankly, I was going nowhere fast. I needed to do something, and I was not a volunteer for overseas. I was not. However, Uncle Sam decided you're going overseas, and lo and behold, when I get orders, they send me to England. And you know, me not necessarily never being out of the country before, it was very nerve wracking at first. But I started thinking about it. I was like, wait a minute, all of my musical heroes are from England, and here I get an opportunity to go serve my country in England. So very excited, very excited. And yeah, 19 years old, Royal Air Force Base Chicksands. That's in let's see, very near Bedford.
Oh, so I was just going to ask you where about was that, because I wasn't familiar with it, but you say Bedford, that's near Luton, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. Actually, Chicksands is close to. I believe it's about 8 miles southeast of Bedford. Yeah, about 8 miles. And yeah, you've got Luton nearby, and it was a great time. We were young, and the culture over there was just so different for us. In my opinion, I think folks were just so laid back, so cool. It was a different pace, and as far as the music scene is concerned, well, that was just a jewel for me. I jumped in right away in the music scene.
Yeah. How long was you there for?
I was stationed there from 1992 to 95, my first tour. And then I loved England so much and made lifelong friends there that I had to go back. So I went back in 1998, and I was there till January of 2001.
Oh, wow, so you spent a
Yeah.
bit of time over there. I know it was a couple of years ago you went back to London, didn't you? I know you went on holiday or vacation, as you say, yeah, to London. I know you had a base there.
Yes, yes. It was 2018. And basically, I was going back to have sort of a reunion with my old bandmates from my old band called Pale for a Day.
Oh, the London bus there?
Yeah. If you look closely, Joe, it says Pale for a Day, the UK Millennium Tour.
All right, okay. For the listeners, we're on camera here. I know this is going out to audio, but we're on camera and he's got a London bus there. He's showing me.
And so we had a reunion in 2018. I got to see all my old mates. Daniel Collins, who he's originally from Newcastle.
Okay, Geordie.
And he lived at the time. He lived in St. Ives, I believe it was.
Right.
So my second tour in England, I was stationed at Royal Air Force Base Alconbury, which is close to Huntingdon, and I had this great band. So Daniel Collins on lead guitar, Michael Hoy on drums, and Fran Okine was our bass player. And we just had a wonderful time playing. I mean, we played everywhere. Any place that would have us, we played. And so many pubs,
Yeah.
so many places. Hitchin, Luton, Needingworth, London, Cambridge. I mean, you name it, Shefford. St. Ives. We were all over the place.
Did you just
And
start music when you were in England? Is that when you began your music career?
so actually, I was a late bloomer on the guitar, and really, I didn't start playing guitar until I was about 16, 17. So by 19, I'm in England now. So yes, I was a bit of a beginner when it came to playing guitar, but I wasn't a beginner when it came to performing music. I began my musical career in the church, playing piano and singing, and so I had a little bit of a musical background. So I think when I did pick up the guitar, I could kind of hear where the notes needed to go. But so yeah, I was just kind of getting started in my musical career, and in a sense, I feel like I kind of cut my teeth in England, learning how to play in a band and playing with musicians, real musicians, and it was just a wonderful experience for me.
So they were your first gigs actually in England.
Yes, one of my first gigs, I believe, it was at a place called the Anchor in Bedford. And on the bass, RAF Chicksands, we had a club called the Rod and Gun Club, and I had a little band that I had put together with some GIs initially, Air Force guys, and we did fairly well. And I had to learn. I had to learn quickly. But I will tell you this much: as soon as I started getting out in the local community and performing and watching the locals perform, I think that's really where I started to gain traction with my music, because, man, there were just some wonderful cats that played out.
So you got to know the local musicians too.
Oh yes, and one in particular. As a matter of fact, we should tee it up where you could maybe talk to Max, but his name is Max Milligan. You can look him up online, and he is an absolute wonderful musician. And I've recently worked with Max on my last couple of singles. Yeah. But yeah, literally getting out into the community and watching some of the cats play, where they threw down, it was just eye-opening for me. It was infectious, and I wanted to do what they were doing, and then some.
Yeah. So your favorite musical artists were the British bands, you say?
Yes. I mean, I've listened to a lot of music, and probably, if I think back on this, probably the first recollection as a child of hearing some sort of music was probably Elvis. My dad liked Elvis. My parents listened to a lot of Spanish music too. But with Elvis, cool thing about him is he was on television, and he was in movies, and he was in the military, and he was around a lot of pretty gals.
Do you know what? I was a big Elvis fan myself. When I was a kid, I went home 2 years ago. I've still got the 40 greatest hits on pink vinyl that I got for my 10th birthday.
Wow.
And I was a big Elvis fan when I was a young kid, yeah.
That's impressive, bro. That's impressive. But yeah, so like, I've listened to a lot of music, and throughout, my younger years, I mean, I've listened to a lot of different types of music, but when I was a teenager, these bands from England were really catching everyone's ear, and they were in the clubs and the discotheques, and there were bands like Depeche Mode, the Smiths, The Cure, these kinds of bands. I was like, wow, the sounds that I was hearing, I was like, I really just connected with it, and of course, you can always go back to the Beatles, but I've listened to a lot of Paul McCartney. I really have. I love Paul McCartney. I love his writing style. I think he has one of the best rock and roll voices out there, frankly.
Oh yeah, when you go back and you listen to "I'm Down," you tell lies and I can't see. He was very influenced by Little Richard as well, McCartney.
Yes.
That's what he gets.
My father liked Little Richard too. I remember him saying that. Yeah, he liked Little Richard.
Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to play a track. This song you wrote during lockdown. But talk us through the song first before we play it, Me and Mine.
Yes. So last year, 2020, when all the weirdness set in, and we were literally hearing about some sort of something coming our way, and we couldn't go outdoors. It felt like I had a time with kind of dealing with this, but rather than be upset and sad and all doom and gloom, I kind of felt inspired to write a little bit about what I'm appreciative of, what I have in front of me, and how much worse it actually could be. So the song Me and Mine, it kind of is just a little snippet of, that time that we were on lockdown, and really it was just my wife and I here at our home and our dogs. And I thought to myself, I'm so grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I have a loving wife. I love my dogs. And I sat out back with a cup of coffee, and me and Mother Nature became one. and I wrote this song, Me and Mine. And it's probably the most pop song I've ever written in my whole life.
It's a great track, it really is.
But I just felt like I did not want doom and gloom. I wanted something upbeat, uplifting, and something people could move around to.
Well, let's hear it. This is Me and Mine by Adam Cruz.
Well, you say that you're doing fine, living through this quarantine. Often days seem to live on their own. Glad I woke up and I'm not alone, and I can't help this feeling. Another day, is it Monday or Tuesday? I think about my days of Sunday school, and all those verses where they live on their own. Oh, me and mine, praise God in our home, and I can't help this feeling. We're gonna dance, we're gonna love. Well, me and mine, you can cut a rug. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry. Well, me and mine, we'll get it right. We're gonna sing, we're gonna dream. Well, me and mine, so seeds of love. You say that you're doing fine, living through my state of mind. The end of days could have pays no mind. I'm glad I woke up just to know you're mine, and I can't help but love this feeling. We're gonna dance, we're gonna love. Well, me and mine sure can cut a rug. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry. Well, me and mine will get it right. We're gonna sing, we're gonna dream. Well, me and mine, so seeds of love. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry, but me and mine will get it right. We're gonna sing, we're gonna dream, well, me and mine, so seeds of love, love.
Very catchy. Great track. I think I've told you before, your stuff reminds me slightly of Paul Eaton. Great singer
Yes.
back home. Paul Eaton in the Beautiful South. He used to be the House Martins, then he formed the band The Beautiful South. He's actually on tour right now with
Yes.
Jackie Abbott and himself and the band behind him. Jackie Abbott was the girl singer in the band. They're actually on tour in the UK right now, but that reminds me a lot of
I
stuff.
follow them a little bit on social media.
Yeah.
They have been touring.
Yeah.
That's a really cool track, and I'm glad that you love it. And I will tell you, when I wrote that song, I immediately reached out to my good mates in England.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, I've written this track. It's a little poppy, but take a listen. Let's do it. Let's record it. So that song was recorded, via technology today. I mean, it's so amazing that we're able to do that.
So the English musicians with the band.
Yes.
Back home.
So that track, it was recorded here in San Antonio in Helotes at Stone Creek Studios. We basically were bouncing files back and forth to England during lockdown. So my mates were in their flat, literally recording and sending back files. And on that track, you have Fran Okine on bass, you have Daniel Collins on lead guitar, and you have Max Milligan on. Max is when it comes to guitar, he's kind of almost like a utility guy. He can do anything on guitar, really. Between him and Dan, I mean, Daniel is just an absolute superb guitar player. Love his style. And then the drums, we had a local drummer, a young guy named Steven Rodriguez. He's a fabulous drummer. And what's interesting is, with Steven, his type of music is so different. It's a lot heavier and stuff. But what he brought to the table for this track, it was just great. I mean, the song just bounced all the way through. It was great. I loved it. So yes, I recorded with my old bandmates to make Me and Mine happen.
Yeah, but I know what you mean about the technology there. When I did that Scouse in the Room album, it was all musicians from here except the bass player, great bass player Keith Holden, and we were in a band together over 25 years ago in Liverpool. He played bass on the whole of that album, and we did the same thing. We sent all the tracks over to him in Liverpool. So amazing what you can do now, isn't it?
I love that album. I love.
Whenever you release a song, you don't do a photograph or a headshot. You use artwork. I know you wanted to talk a bit about your artwork on your singles today. So talk us through the artwork.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our good friend Gina Capanilli, she is just an absolute fabulous artist. I had an idea of what I wanted the artwork to Me and Mine to look like. I spent so much time during lockdown in my backyard, in my hammock, in my swing, and really just becoming one with nature in a lot of ways. And I started noticing, and I think the world started noticing that the skies were becoming very blue. Things were changing. Animals were on the move. They were coming out. And in my backyard alone, I would sit out there for hours and I would just look through the trees, and it was very active from an audio perspective and a visual perspective. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm very appreciative of this right now, what's happening. And I had this idea of the artwork to basically be from my view, laying in my hammock, looking up and through the trees into the sky. And what is it that I see when I look up? And I described that to Gina, and she absolutely just, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. And I display it here in my home. It's very beautiful. Yeah. And in the artwork, I kind of wanted it like when I was a kid, my mother would subscribe to the Highlight magazines. It was called Highlights magazine. And I think it was page 2 or 3. And you had to go and find objects in the artwork. And if you look at me and mine's artwork, if you look closely, there are things in there. You just have to look for them. And a lot of color, and nature.
At the moment, you're playing a resident solo gig downtown San Antonio, Maddie McMurphy's
Yes.
Irish Sports Bar. How's that going?
You know, it's absolutely that gig has been a blessing, and I really have to thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, brother, taking good care of me on that one, and putting my name in the hat. I've been there now. I think I've been there now since about maybe about April, May timeframe, something like that. And what I love about Maddie McMurphy's is that we can start nice and early, 4 to 7. And it's a different day in there every day. Yeah. You never know who's going to walk in. And, you know, some days on Monday when I walk in, I'm like, wow, where did all these people come from at this time of the day? But it's a beautiful thing. So it's an adventure. The people there are absolutely wonderful. Terry, he's just a really, really solid individual. And he really knows how to take care of his people and treat people. And I'm very grateful to be there. So, yeah, it's going very well. I'm there Monday through Friday, 4 to 7.
I think the good thing about that place as well, it's all windows. So people walk past and see, what's going on in here?
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, they can see you playing and people will come in. It's in a great location right downtown.
Yeah, it's downtown and it's on a very historical street, Houston. It's at the corner of Houston and La Jolla. And there's a lot of good happenings going on Houston Street. So, yeah, it does attract a lot of folks.
And you're also playing the Little Rhine Post House. That's a new one.
Yes, that's another establishment that I believe Terry owns as well. Yeah. And I am doing doing the first Saturday of the month there, and it's also a 4 to 7 time slot.
Yes, you get all these early gigs, and
yes,
the night your own.
Well, see, that nighttime is reserved to come into Waxy's to come see you, mate. And you know how that turns out.
We know how that turns out, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, them venues, you know, Terry Corliss, he's from the UK, Terry. So he owns Mad Dogs. It's the Mad Dogs Group, isn't it? It's known as the company.
Yes, it is.
It's got Mad Dogs, Maddie McMurphy's, the new one that you're playing in. That's like a German place, right?
Yes, it's a bit of a German kind of a place, and it's right in the historical La Villita area. Yeah. Right off of the River Rock, and the Arneson Theater is right across as well. So it's a prime location. They have a beautiful beer garden out back. You have the view of the River Walk, and it's really nice. They have a really nice sound system there, so it's easy for us musicians. It's pretty much a plug and play kind of a gig.
It's a house system, yeah.
Yes, sir. And yeah, it's a fun time there. It really is.
Do you still do stuff with the band? I know you got the band Love Lust.
Yes. As a matter of fact, we will be performing at La Cantera Resort for New Year's Eve. We are the band for their New Year's Eve throwdown, blowout, whatever you want to call it, but they usually go big.
Let's play another track. Before we do, talk us through this one. This is Why Didn't You Stay?
Oh, right. Okay, so this was my last single that I released, and this song here is basically about a one-night stand. And rather than the guy wake up the next morning and roll out on her, she wakes up early and rolls out on him. But when he wakes, he's like, where did she go? Why did she leave? Why didn't she stay? To him, it was no longer a one-night stand. He really liked her. So in his mind, he was thinking, wow, I think I could really, really, be with this girl. I like this girl, but she was gone. That's essentially what the song is about. So yeah, let's have a listen.
Let's have a listen. Why Didn't You Stay, Adam Cruz?
I was from the other side of town. You were lost and even wondering how. a sense you led me on, and in a sense you turned me on, and in that dress you took me home. So hey, why didn't you stay? Lost, but I thought I was found. Lucid dreams and bedroom scenes haunt me now. And in a sense you led me on, and in a sense you gave it all, and in that dress you took me home.
Frankly, I didn't know what to do. He was quite the lovely boy.
Another catchy one. I like the end bit there with the girl talking too. That's a nice little touch.
Okay, so if you want to know what that is, I had this idea, like a very cinematic kind of a situation towards the end where she's in a coffee shop or something, you know, maybe in London. It could be anywhere, really. But she's sitting there with her girlfriend reminiscing about that one evening that she walked out on that guy. And, you know, she's basically, you know, kind of telling the story. And then she's saying, you know, frankly, I didn't know what to do, you know, but he was quite the lovely boy. And that's actually when I had that idea. Again, with this track, I recorded with all my mates in England. Yeah. So, you know, the formula worked the first time with me in mind, and I think we improved upon it on this next song. We actually sent that track out to Nashville to get mastered, whereas we in-house mastered Me and Mine. And went back to my mates, and they were like, "Yes, let's do this, let's do that with it." And then I had this idea about that scene towards the end. And I enlisted Danny Boy's wife to record that for me. However, I got a few different recordings at first. Yeah. I think his son, his little baby boy, sent me one at first, and it was in a very odd voice. But it worked. It totally worked. So yeah, that's that song. And as far as the artwork, once again, I enlisted Gina to help me with that. So that song in particular, I wrote that one in England years ago, and I want to say it was probably about 1998
when you wrote that.
when I wrote that one.
Oh, wow.
So what I did was I retooled it last year and worked on the lyrics a little bit better. When I pulled the track out and I looked at the lyrics and the structure of the song, it was very, you could tell I was young when I wrote it. So I worked on it and retooled it, sent it to the guys, and we made it happen. But Joe, this year I was working on another single at the top of the year. I think you and I had many conversations about it, and I was pretty excited about it. And sadly, we lost my good mate Fran Okine at the beginning of this year. So the single came to a screeching halt. It was very traumatic. It was, we miss him every day. He was such a wonderful, wonderful human being. And in a lot of ways, I always kind of looked to Fran to kind of give me the nod when it came to how does this sound? And
this is one of the guys back home in England. Well, I say back home
yes,
for me.
In England, yes, Fran. So literally, I do have a new single coming out in the new year. I'm hoping so, in the new year. It was supposed to be out early this year, but we lost Franny, and so I'm scouting right now for a bass player, and I think I have a lead on a good bass player, and that track will be coming out. I'm hoping by the new year, January. The title, when it was originally written, it was titled "Going So Far," and I don't know if that's going to stand or not. I think maybe I might need to come up with another title. I'm not sure just yet. But this is another track that I wrote many years ago, and I've retooled it, and it's going to come out in the new year. It's a really I'm really excited about this song. Yeah, really excited about this one.
What's the best platforms for people to find out more about you and the music and to purchase your music?
Well, so it's out there on every major platform: Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music. I think those are probably the top three that most people use. I know it's on many other platforms as well. I'm just not too familiar with them. But most certainly, if you type in Adam Cruz, Me and Mine, or Why Didn't You Stay, they should come on up.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, it's sad in a way, the way the business is going, because I've noticed CD sales are just not like they used to be. It's always been an impulse buy at a gig, I think, a CD. Independent artists, you don't see people looking for the CD online. I've sold so many at my gigs, but recently, I mean, you get a new car now, there's not even a CD player in the car.
I know.
It's a lot of people now are just, it's online, isn't it? And even there's a thing called Bandcamp where the artist gets 90% of the downloads. But the problem, sadly, with that, again, is people are just programmed. I do iTunes or I do Amazon Music. And you know yourself, you do CD Baby. And to get our music out there, you've got to be a member of CD Baby as an artist.
As a matter of fact, that is my digital distributor. And yes, Amazon is included. I mean, there's so many different platforms to get music these days. And yes, you're right. The whole industry has changed. Physical is just not selling. They just don't want it. They just want that one song. It's when I was a kid, there were times that I literally, on payday, I'd go pick out a couple of CDs, and one would be based off of its artwork. I found a band called The Tragically Hip out of Canada just solely because of the artwork. And boy, was that a great surprise. Yeah.
I mean, I remember the days as a kid, you'd go out, I'd buy vinyl, and you couldn't wait to get home and read the cover. You'd read all the credits, all the song titles, the lyrics. Some of the albums had lyrics. So, it's sad that them days are gone. Hopefully they'll come back. You never know. But.
Well, up here at my place, I spin nothing but vinyl. So I love vinyl. I have a wonderful vinyl collection, and I'm very proud of it. It's not a big collection, but it's a very meaningful collection. A lot of great artists I have on vinyl.
Brother, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us today. I know you got to get going soon because you're playing again today, right? You're playing at 4 o'clock.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
You're at
I
Maddie
will-
McMurphy's today. So any local San Antonio listeners, get yourselves down to Maddie McMurphy's Monday to Friday, 4 till 7, Mr. Adam Cruz. And it's been a pleasure. And no doubt I will see you soon, brother, on the Riverwalk.
Yes. Thank you, my friend. We love you.
Appreciate you. Adam Cruz, everybody. Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.